Adventure in Pipeman on W4CY Radio.
Welcome back to the Adventures of Pipeman. Once again, here with our Positively Pipeman segment with our expert resident guest on business strategies that you're going to want to find out about. He has the formula for success, and they are powerful. So let's welcome to the show, Michael Barbarita. How are you?
Fantastic, Dane. How are you?
Oh, beautiful. You know, how can it be how can it be bad? Because we're learning things that are going to help us in our business, which help us in our personal life, and then everything's great.
I agree. Thanks for having me. You know, it's funny. Every one of our one of the biggest game changers for me in learning about selling for me was being transformational, not transactional. And this takes practice, because our problem as salespeople, business owners, whatever you may be, is our prospects are conditioned to think transactionally.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to explain what that means, but we must get them to think transformationally, because when you think about it, just about any product or service can be transformational. Now, there might be some, like if you sell nuts and bolts, I don't know, maybe that's not transformational, but most all products are transformational. And in order for this concept to work, though, Dean, you must know and understand your prospect's number one goal, number one dream, and number one desire. And there is a special technique that one can use to get to that number one goal and desire. And let me see if I can briefly explain it. So, like if I was talking to a business owner, I'd say, you know, what's your number one goal? And they'd say something like, well, I want to get my business to $1 million. Great. You get your business to $1 million. What will that do for you? That's a critical statement I just made. First of all, I repeated it, okay, which is forward pacing, because I said, you got the business to $1 million. Now, what will that do for you? And so then he'll say, well, let's just say that will allow me to hire someone. Great. You get the business to $1 million. You're able to hire someone. What will that do for you? Geez, that'll free up my time. Awesome. So you get the business to $1 million, you hire a manager or hire someone, and it frees up your time. What will that do for you? Oh man, that'll allow me to spend more time with my wife and my kids, go to my kids' soccer games, go on date nights with my wife, which I haven't been doing at all. That's when you hit pay dirt. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
because notice it took 3 or 4 steps to get to their number one goal. And by the way, I'd make sure I ask what the spouse's name is and what the kids' names are. You'll always get the names of the people from your prospect who they love.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you can apply it later on. So anyway, that's the steps it takes, because the chances that somebody really gives you their number one goal in the first question is almost
highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely.
They don't even usually know.
That's it. They don't think about it, right? And the fact that you're taking them on this journey is going to give you some points just by virtue of that, because once you understand their number one goal and desire, you can make your product transformational. So I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. I'm going to give you an example. Because I'm picking a difficult product to sell. Okay. And so I want to.
Well, I want to say something first.
Sure.
Too.
Go right ahead.
If anybody listened to last week's episode, this relates to the first step of last week's episode, which is clarity.
Yep.
Okay. And if you haven't listened to last week's episode, go back to the podcast, anywhere you listen to podcasts, and listen to it, because you'll see how this episode is transformational from that episode.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's say your product or service is selling murals. Now that's not an easy product to sell. That's why I picked it. Okay. Now the problem the customer has, and that's the first place you really have to go. But the problem the customer has is usually some emotional need that needs to be fulfilled. And let me explain it with this example. So let's say the salesperson finds out that the number one goal of the prospect is to put a mural in their child's bedroom in order to create a soothing, safe feeling environment for better sleep and emotional well-being. That's the prospect's number one goal after asking all the questions. They didn't blurt that out at the beginning. They blurted out something else. And, maybe an inexpensive mural or something to that effect. But as you dig deeper, you got to this point where they wanted to create a soothing, safe feeling environment for better sleep and emotional well-being. And by the way, sometimes you have to lead the customer to their number one goal.
Yeah, most of the time, in my
yes,
opinion.
right. You have to lead them, even if because otherwise you're going to keep saying, what will that do for you? And they're going to run out of thought. So sometimes you might have to say, like in the case of the mural, what do you think about creating a soothing, safe feeling environment for better sleep and emotional well-being? And they'll probably react to that favorably.
Mm-hmm.
And say, you know what? That's pretty good. That would be an objective of mine. So that would be the prospect's number one goal. And let's say their child's name is Tom. And by the way, I think I might have said this before. It's always a good idea to get the names of people your prospects love. And when you start talking about price and terms and how you're going to go about doing the mural and your features, advantages, and benefits of working with you, which are all things you have to do, but that's where it becomes transactional. The customer is hearing the price, and they're hearing how you go about doing it and so forth. And they're interested, and that's all important, but that's where it becomes transactional. And you need to constantly get the prospect back to transformational. For example, if the prospect says, I have to think about it, you would say, oh, you say you have to think about it. What is it? And they would likely say, well, the price of the mural and the whole program. And you would then say, oh, no, I think we have a bit of a disconnect. As a matter of fact, I think we're having two different conversations. This isn't about the mural or my program. Put that aside. Whether you work with me or someone else, this is about creating a soothing, safe feeling environment for Tom, for better sleep, emotional well-being, and giving you both lasting memories of how well you cared for him. That's what this is about. I'm sure you don't have to think about that. So what's happening here and what's going through the customer's mind, and by the way, they're going a little berserk at this point because they're torn.
Oh, yeah.
And because they're connecting what you're offering to the cost and the transaction, it's your job to constantly get them back to their number one goal. And that makes your product transformational. And I know that some people are out there, I can kind of see their faces, and they're thinking, ooh, that feels weird. But the most humane thing we can do is get them out of their torn misery and help them say yes to themselves. You see, we're not trying to convince them or trying to get them to do anything they don't want to do. All we're doing is keeping them aware of what they said they wanted.
And what they said they wanted is usually emotional, and sales is a transfer of emotion, and that's what makes it transformational opposed to transactional.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the other thing I want to point out is if we truly believe in our product or service, and this is part of mindset that we talked about in the previous show. If we truly believe in our product or service, isn't it our obligation to that customer to help them say yes to themselves in any way we can? Because the option that we're offering is absolutely, hands down, the best choice for that customer.
Well,
It's our obligation.
Funny, what's funny about that is when I first became a professional speaker, I came from a very salesy environment in the financial business, and I just wanted to help people. So I kept forgetting every seminar to try to sell them anything. And one of my mentors, who's, one of the top speakers out there, he said something to me and it really hit home. He goes, well, listen, if you're truly looking to help people, how much could you do to help them if you aren't making a living?
Right.
And so, yes, there's nothing wrong with selling them. If you're truly trying to help them, why wouldn't you? And how much help are you going to give them if you yourself are not even following that lead and can't pay your own bills?
Right. And here's the other thing I found, Dean, is when you're truly disconnected to the outcome, then you're more able to be more present in the conversation, allowing you to focus on the customer's transformation, which is incredibly more compelling versus the unpleasantry of focusing on the transaction.
Oh, no doubt about it. Like, to me, the feeling I get from helping people and fulfilling their needs by selling them something is worth way more than whatever they're paying me.
Right. And you believe in your product so that that's the best option that they have.
Absolutely.
And it's your obligation. It's your obligation because you have the best offer and product and service that they can get. And so it's your obligation to help them say yes to themselves. And by the way, I keep saying that. People don't say no to you or yes to you. They say yes to them or no to themselves. So that's the other thing. Is a lot of business owners take the no personally. They're not saying no to you. They're saying no to themselves. It's our job to get them to say yes to themselves.
And I'll even add to that a lot of times when they're saying no, they want to see how much you believe in what you're telling them. Because if you waver and give in to them, they realize you're really not that confident that you could fulfill their needs and goals.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely. That's why if you're truly disconnected, that comes across. Meaning you're not out for yourself, you're out for the customer's benefit, not yours. And when you do that and you disconnect, it makes it, once again, you're more present in the conversation, and you're able to keep getting back to the transformation and away from the transaction. Because if you stick with the transaction, that's has very negative annotations to the prospect.
100%.
So yeah.
How do people find out more about this subject and other subjects that are some powerful business strategies that they can implement in their business?
Well, Dane, they just have to go to nextstepcfo.net. They could download my book for free. They could go to nextstepcfo.net/contact. And what I love to do with business owners, so that for the next edition of my book, is interview business owners. And the way it works is it's 60 minutes on Zoom. I present strategies from my book, and then I ask the business owner, if a business owner was to implement this strategy in their industry, what impact would this strategy have? And then I document it for the book. There's nothing to buy, but I promise the business owner that they'll learn business and financial strategies that their competition isn't doing. So if they go to nextstepcfo.net/contact, fill out the contact form. In the message section, put the word book interview, and I'll send you a calendar link to schedule it. It's that simple.
Nice. Well, once again, you're a wealth of information and help to our listeners. And thank you for coming on the show every week and giving some great advice. And once again, we'll see you next week. And thanks for being on the Adventures of Pipeman.
Look forward to it, Dane. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Adventures of Pipeman on W4CY Radio.